Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Teri True Crime, and welcome to another episode of True Crime and Wine Time. Now, tonight, we are going to get into the very disturbing case. Sorry, I'm talking in my ear. The very disturbing case of Karen Greenlee. And I do have a guest to bring on to help me tell this tale. But before I bring her on, I do need to make a very brief announcement. JT, my co host, has made the decision to step away from True Crime and Wine Time. Now, he is still part of our family, and we wish him all of the best. And we do look forward to catching up with him soon. So, JT is still here in the background. Now, before we get into tonight's stuff, remember to hit that subscribe button and hit the little notification bell so that way you will get notified when we come on. And if you are listening on those podcast apps, please be sure to leave us a review. It helps people find us, and finding us is always a good thing because when we have crazy shows like tonight, you want to be here with us. Now, let's bring on our special guest for the night. It is the couch queen herself, Llama, host of the newest TCWT media show, Couch Court with Llama.
Hello. Thank you for having me on, Teri. I see some of my couch potatoes in chat. Make some room on the couch, everyone. We're all friends. Oh, gosh. Thank you for having me. I'm just going to go ahead and apologize to all the listeners for suggesting we do this one this week. So sorry.
Yeah, this is all you.
Yeah. Because I'm still Llama the host, but I'm also producer in the background. So
that's right.
I didn't even know how bad this was going to be until I started researching it. And then I was just like, oh boy, I've read a lot of disturbing things, but this might actually take the cake on that. So I hope you all brought your bark bags tonight because you're going to need them. It's gross. It's gross.
Well, before I tell you what I'm drinking and you tell me what you're drinking, I need you to tell Elbow Feet it is time for your surprise.
Oh, yay. All right.
Because he is going to hand it to you.
Babe.
Everybody, I hope you're ready.
You're supposed to bring me a surprise. If you heard me.
Scared.
Don't look scared.
Don't look scared. I mean, you should be nervous.
Couch friends unite. Babe.
Tell him he's ruining the surprise.
Oh, we also use going from the for Central.
And he's on the phone.
No, that's my little llama.
Oh, babe, that's little llama.
Oh, good timing because I didn't even know they left. But you're supposed to have a surprise for me, babe?
Oh, she said later.
No, she said now.
No, now.
She said later.
No, she said now.
She hasn't told me that.
I'm glad I didn't even know they snuck off to get food.
Can I tell you, why can't men just do what they're told?
I know, right? Oh, I know.
I mean,
hello, Amy Beth. Hello.
I tell you.
Welcome to my life. It's like this all the time living with Lippy. He's lucky. He is so pretty. Oh, jeez. Oh, I don't even know if it's going to show up on my green screen, but it's
what is that, Llama?
Oil.
I thought you could use.
I thought it was going to have to be something I had to eat, and I was like, "Oh God!"
Oh no, there's one more thing.
It's edible baby oil.
Oh, there's one more thing.
Okay. Yeah, it's an edible baby oil, I'm sure.
Oh, I know.
I don't think it's edible.
There's one more thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
There should be two things.
There should be two things. Oh no.
Yeah, I think after that whole Diddy thing, you have to sign.
Was there another thing?
No, that was it.
You're so stupid. Oh, what's this? 14 Hands Winery. Hot to trot, smooth blend. Oh my goodness. Thank you. I
So
like this better than the baby oil.
just think
We'll get good use
14
out of us.
hands. Think of the case tonight.
Oh gosh.
You didn't drink it?
Oh boy. No, because I've already poured a big glass of wine already.
Yeah, the baby
Yeah, I
oil.
don't think
Oh,
she
the
wants to
baby
drink
oil?
that with this. Do not drink the baby
No.
oil. That
Hot to try.
is for you and elbow
Hot to squat.
to do whatever you want to do with
Okay.
it.
I'm sure Mama Llama is super excited to hear about that. She's in the chat. Everybody's probably like, oh, what is this weird thing? Well, if you don't know, then you have not watched my Diddy updates the last couple
Exactly.
days because there's a lot of baby oil involved, you guys. Well, thank you so much, Teri.
I
I
thought
love that.
if we're going to talk about your little special you're doing, that you should have a prop to go with it. It makes
Yes.
it much more fun to talk about the
Oh
baby
my
oil.
gosh. Oh my goodness. Well, thank
And
you
the
so
14
much for
hands,
that.
you can drink that when you're needing to think about this case with all the
Oh,
hands.
so much hands and stuff
Yes, I
with
mean,
hands.
but
Ooh.
I decided
When you're
tonight,
checking for ticks.
oh yeah, it is good for checking ticks. It is
Is
because
it?
it smothers them, and so they'll
Oh,
back out so that you can grab them easier.
really? Okay, then that's even better because with Elbow Feet's new job, he's outside a lot and ticks are really bad this season. He said, I have to check him every day when he comes home. That's why on Couch Court with Llama, I'll disappear for a few minutes around 3:30 because I have to do tick duty.
Is that what
So,
the kids are calling it these days?
tick duty.
Checking for
Yeah.
ticks?
Checking for ticks. But good to
Okay.
know. Thank you. Oh, Kevin.
But I am drinking
Oh,
good old Kim Crawford Sauvignon Blanc because I'll be honest,
Mm.
I didn't want to open
13
something
on
else
party?
knowing I might throw it up, and I do have a trash can here
Oh,
because this
Well,
case disturbs me a little bit, or let me just
a
say a
lot of
lot.
it. A lot of it.
Yes. So what are you drinking tonight?
Well, tonight I'm drinking my usual Yosemite Road Moscato, but I paired it with one of my other favorite drinks. It's non-alcoholic, but it's Izzy's Sparkling Blackberry. I don't know what
I
you would
have
want to call it, but
sparkling raspberry right here.
oh, look at that. That's great. I love Izzy. They're not a sponsor, but if they want to sponsor us, you would make me so happy. All right. I will literally talk about it all of the time, Izzy, if you want to sponsor the True Crime in My Time people.
Yes. Reach out
But
to our producer, Llama. She's great.
that's me. She's great. I hear she's fantastic.
Now, tonight, guys, we are going to talk about the deeply, deeply unsettling story of Karen Greenlee, also known as the best known modern practitioner of necrophilia. Now,
Gross.
I think I'm going to throw out the trigger warning now and we'll put the banner up. Tonight's episode will have many sexually deviant themes, as well as talk about suicidal ideation. So this may not be for everyone. And if it's not, that is okay. I totally get it. We will see you next time. Okay.
Yes.
Because if I didn't love Llama so much, I would hit her for this case. I mean, JT picked some dark cases, but this is beyond dark.
It's
Okay.
a full thing. Mhm.
Now, there really isn't much to know about Karen's early life or really much about her adult one for that matter. We do know she was born in 1958 and she was one of 3 siblings. Okay. Now, her father, Al Myers, described her as a lovable little girl.
Oh.
He also, do I hear? Is that her dad talking in the background?
No, it's people that forget that I'm live on YouTube right now, having conversations in the hallway.
Okay. That's okay. It happens. Now, her dad also said in an interview that she had been sexually abused at the age of 8 and was then raped by a teacher at the age of 14.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, and afterwards, the family relocated from Sonoma County, California to Colfax, California. So I'm thinking they were trying to get away from that, which I think is a good thing. But
Mhm.
somewhere between graduating high school and her arrest a few years later, Karen did get married, okay? Though it didn't seem that it last. However, she did not get divorced. She was separated from her husband. And by December 1979, when I was 9 years old, she was living in an apartment above Sacramento Memorial Lawn Mortuary in Sacramento, California. And guys,
Oh,
she worked as an apprentice embalmer.
oh,
Yay. Yay. I'm going to just say yay.
okay.
She's hugging that casket a little uncomfortably for me.
A
Just
little
saying.
uncomfortable for what we're about to
In the very
discuss.
early mornings of December 17th, 1979, she was 21 years old. She told a fellow coworker that she was going to pick up a body, except instead of taking the vehicle normally used for such a task, she took the 1975 Cadillac hearse. Okay, that in itself is creepy. Now, in that hearse was the body of 33-year-old John Mercury, who had died 7 days
Mhm.
earlier and was scheduled to be buried that morning. Guys, when Karen did not return, a police bulletin went out looking for the hearse and Karen. Yes, guys, she took the hearse with the body.
Could you imagine that bulletin
No,
going out?
no. I mean,
What?
no. I'm
Wow.
sure law enforcement was like, say again, say
Right?
again, come at me again. Yeah. Now, Karen, the hearse, and the body of John were located the next day in Sierra County, California. Now, law enforcement found her locked inside. Yes, you heard me. She was locked inside the hearse and she refused to leave. Now, after an hour and a half, she finally unlocked the doors. But she
Mm,
had also attempted suicide by ingesting several Tylenol and
mm.
codeine pills. Karen
Oof.
was rushed to the hospital and had her stomach pumped. And fortunately, she did survive the ordeal.
Oof. That's a tough way to try to go. She's very lucky and fortunate.
She is. I did not find out till we lived in Las Vegas that someone could actually die from overdosing on Tylenol, till
Mhm.
one of my kids' friends and our neighbor's daughter
Mm.
died from
It's
overdosing
so
on.
sad and horrible.
I didn't know. I didn't know, and I was
Mhm.
shocked, but yeah. So
Mm.
law enforcement did find a 4.5-page letter written by her in the hearse, where she had confessed to having sex with 20 to 40 bodies of young men, calling it an addiction.
Ooh, okay.
I mean,
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. She's 21 here
uh-huh.
and already 20 to 40 bodies of young men. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we ready to do this? Okay.
So now here's what she wrote. Give it to
Why
us.
do I do it? Why? Why? Fear of love, relationships. No romance ever hurt like this. It's the pits. I'm a morgue rat. This is my rat hole. Perhaps my grave.
Yeah.
Oof.
Now, she also wrote that she loved her parents, but she could not ask them to help her with these taboo urges. And I have to say, how would you
How
talk to
would
your
you?
family about that? I mean, as a mom, I would still love my child, but I think they would have to take me to the hospital.
I don't even know how you process that.
I don't know if I could. So,
Mm.
but like I said, she also wrote that she loved her parents.
Yeah. She wrote, I've nowhere or no one to go to. Yes, there's my dad and mom, but I'd be replacing one problem with another. They fight, and sometimes I get pulled in the middle. I know they need someone to talk to who understands, cares, and doesn't talk. So I listen. I owe it to them. I put them through so much pain through the years. I love them. I wish I could help them, but I get physically ill if I stay with them. The fighting. Mm.
I'm not a therapist, but I am gonna say she has some definite childhood trauma, not just from the things that happened to her, but it sounds like it was a dysfunctional family.
Mhm.
Now, guys, in 1979, necrophilia was not a crime in California. And if y'all are doing like me, you're going, how was it not?
What?
And surely they made it a law about it right after this, right? Guess what,
Yeah.
guys? No, no. Necrophilia did not become illegal in California until 2004.
That's when I graduated high
2004.
school. That's
I
crazy.
mean, but guys,
Wow.
before we judge California too hard, I recommend you guys waiting until the end where I'm going to share a little bit more information about other states, or you can go ahead and Google your state now if you want, because you can't wait.
Ooh, my Google search history is going to make me look so bad. So bad.
But
I know of one particular state up north of where I am, so we all know what state that is. They just made it illegal last year. Last year, the state of Michigan. Last year.
Yeah.
What?
It's insane. Now, I'm going to ask everybody to go hit the like button now because you're not liking the topic.
No.
You're liking us, and it helps people find us because it's about to get a whole lot more fun. Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Karen was charged and pled guilty to stealing the hearse and interfering with the funeral. She had to serve 11 days in jail, a $255 fine, 2 years probation, and mandatory therapy.
Mm.
That's
That's
it.
crazy for stealing a car. For
Wouldn't
grand
that be
theft
like
auto,
Grand
but the
Theft
body.
Auto?
Yeah. But
I
it's
mean,
also what, 1979. So that probably
now
wasn't a law then either. Who knows?
probably, but John's mother filed a $1 million lawsuit against Karen and the mortuary for severe emotional distress. Girl, yes, but guys, she ended up receiving $117,000.
I mean, that's both of those numbers are pretty big for 1979
I
or
know.
the early 80s
But
at this point. I don't know, but
she also had John's body exhumed and decided to have it taken to Michigan to be buried because I'm sure once it hit the news, people were going to see it, and that's just awful. Now, the good news, that's pretty much all of her legal troubles that we know of because it is believed that she changed her name and she is still alive and her whereabouts are unknown. I did check. The file is sealed.
Wow.
The file is sealed, and I'm
Did anybody
assuming
else
it's a
get
name
goosebumps? Because
change.
I just did. I did. I don't know if you can, my camera picks it up, but I did.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah. So I was able
Okay.
to find
Oof.
a filing in 1981 that she filed a motion, and it was sealed. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking that's her changing her name, but there's not really much out there about her. But the title of tonight's show is not Inside the Crimes of a Necrophile. It's Inside the Mind of One. And that is where
Not
we will
me.
be for the rest of the show.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And it's not often that you get to hear these types of confessions from the perpetrator in their own words. And I'm going to be honest, at the end, we're going to really wish we hadn't have. Okay.
So true.
But our wonderful
So true.
producer felt we should do this. So
She's amazing. She should get a raise.
she should. I will give her one dead body.
She's getting
Now,
fired tomorrow morning. Just kidding.
yeah. Now, 5 years after her arrest, Karen gave a very detailed interview. Oh my God, that picture.
Don't worry, I'm taking it down.
My God.
Right. Oh, God.
Is she
Oh,
on
boy.
top of a body in there?
I think so. It looks like a very old, used casket.
Oh my God.
I think so. Everybody drink?
Next time I need to see the pictures before they just pop up on the screen. Oh my heavens.
I'm
Okay.
not going to leave it up there that long, y'all, but now you know.
Well, I was trying to see if I could pick out body parts, but anyway.
Oh, girl, I can
Now,
put it back up. I'm just kidding.
5 years after her arrest, like I said, she gave a very detailed interview called The Unrepentant Necrophile to author Jim Morton for his book, Apocalypse Culture. And guess what, Llama? We are going to read that. So
Yay.
I want everybody to grab that barf bag, a drink, and hold it close. Now, I also want you to keep in mind, this interview was done over 40 years ago. Okay. Times were different. Words were used differently. And these words are Karen's and the interviewer's, not our own.
Right.
So, Llama gets to be lucky. I am going to play the role of the interviewer, Jim. Llama, you get to be Karen.
Okay. All right. This
If we
might
can
be the
role play
weirdest. This might be the weirdest role play I've ever done, but I'll give it a go. Take one for the team.
I hope Mama Llama's ready. That's all I got to say.
Buffy said I'm clipping this. Buffy.
Oh, Buffy.
She was like, oh, we need all the faces for future thumbnails. I
Oh,
can only
she's going to get
imagine
them
the
tonight.
faces. I can only imagine the
just
faces she's
wait.
going to get them.
Oh my God, just wait. Now, he starts the interview reviewing the facts that just shared with you. So we're going to start here. The press had a field day. The lawyers got rich, and Karen lost her career and the source of her sexual satisfaction. But guys, Karen is now more comfortable with her sexuality.
Oh boy.
Karen?
When I wrote that letter, I was still listening to society. Everyone said necrophilia was wrong, so I must be doing something wrong. But the more people tried to convince me that I was crazy, the more sure of my desires I became.
Okay. The following interview was held in Karen's apartment, which was a small studio filled with books, necrophilic drawings, and satanic adornments.
Cool. Of course it was.
I mean, if you're going to do it right, I guess.
I mean, go
Now,
big or go home.
Back during the trial, from what I read in the newspapers, it seemed like you got very little support, Karen.
No, none whatsoever. The newspapers were the worst. To this day, I hate reporters. One of them even compared me to Richard Trenton Chase, the vampire killer. What support there was like a family obligations. One of my brothers refused to have anything to do with me. He said, I just want to remember her as she was. He came up to me later and apologized, but he still isn't comfortable around me. My other brother was more supportive, but even he had to ask, how'd you do it? Before the trial, I had a boyfriend who found out about it. He got mad and slapped me around. He said I wasn't even a woman and I could go fuck my dead bodies. I was surprised. He knew. Apparently, a lot of people knew, and I don't know how they knew. With guys, they always felt I went for the bodies because I was hard up, and if I went to bed with them, then that would change me, and they would be the one who would give me such satisfaction. I wouldn't need those old corpses anymore. I've run into that a lot. Sometimes they had guys come on to me for just that reason.
Oh, I guess I should have turned that off. That is Mr. Craig Lackey.
Yep.
Now, the question I am most often asked is, how did she do it?
Yes, that's the question. People ask questions like that. Even people who seem pretty cool seem to have open minds. Then when you tell them, they say, that's very interesting. Then don't want to have much to do with me. Excuse me. It's already starting. The gag reflexes as I'm reading. Okay. Oh boy. I don't mind telling people how I do it. It doesn't matter to me, but anyone adept sexually shouldn't have to ask. People have this misconception that there has to be penetration for sexual gratification, which is bull. The most sensitive part of a woman is the front area anyway, and that is what needs to be stimulated. Besides, there are different aspects of sexual expression: touchy-feely, 69, even holding hands. That body is just lying there, but it has what it takes to make me happy. The cold, the aura of death, the smell of death, the funeral surroundings. It all contributes.
Uh, the smell of death?
Sure, I find the odor of death very erotic. There are death odors, and there are death odors. Now, you get your body that's been floating in the bay for 2 weeks, or a burn victim. That doesn't attract me much. But a freshly embalmed corpse is something else. There's also this attraction to blood. When you're on top of a body, it tends to purge blood out of its mouth while you're making passionate love. You'd have to be there, I guess. Of course, with all the AIDS going around, that's the reason I haven't tried anything lately. I'm sure I'd have found a way to get into one of those funeral homes by now, but the group I find attractive are young men in their 20s, and there are the ones who are dying of AIDS.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Yeah. Did you usually attend the funerals of your corpse lovers?
Yeah, it was convenient working in the funeral homes. I get to drive out to the cemetery with the family. I get to mourn right along with the family at the loss of that loved one, except I was groaning in a little different tone. People can't really tell if you're grief-stricken or passion-stricken. I've had family members of the families put their arms around me and say, "We're so glad you could come." Then you have to spend this big old yarn. "Yeah, I knew him in school. If the guy didn't have a girlfriend in life, they think you were, oh, she's the one."
I'm sure that's not what they meant by saying they were glad you could come, your version. But okay, let's get back to what yeah. You weren't in Sacramento at the time of the trial, were you?
No, I was working in a funeral home in another city and going to school at the same time. It's weird, but the day I got a telegram about the trial telling me to get in touch with my attorney, I went into the funeral home and was fired for things I had done at that funeral home. Somebody, I guess, got wise of me. I know I wasn't seen, but I think somebody just figured it out. Of course, they didn't know about Sacramento yet. They found that out later. The same day, within 5 hours of each other, two totally different things caught up with me. I worked in that funeral home for almost a year. That's where I did a lot of my extracurricular activities. I had keys, so I'd slip back in after hours and spend all night there. A guy lived at the funeral home in an apartment downstairs. He drank, so he usually passed out. He also had a 357 Magnum under his pillow. The guy that court case was about.
I mean, John Mercury?
Yeah. I understand he was moved out of the cemetery after the trial. That happened at the time I was breaking into this funeral home. There was a side room, one of those arrangement areas, where they always have their case folders out. I read there was an exhumation order for John Mercure. Then I read something in the paper about it. His mother wanted the body exhumed, said she couldn't bury her cat there. On the day he was supposed to be exhumed, I snuck out into a field across from where he was buried. I sat out in the field and watched them dig up the body and give him to this other mortician, and they shipped him back to Michigan.
So, when did you first become aware of your necrophilia?
It's something I've been attracted to all my life. I used to hold funeral services for my pets when they died. Had a little pet graveyard. I lived in a small town, and the fireman's barbecue was next door to the funeral home. To go to the bathroom, you had to use the facilities in the funeral home, and I'd find any excuse I could to go to the bathroom. Then I'd take side trips and wander around the mortuary.
Um, it didn't scare you like the other kids?
No, I loved it. I was real curious. I'd wander around the halls.
Now, do you miss working in funeral homes?
Yes, terribly. Even if I wasn't a necrophile, I like mortuary work. I enjoy embalming and everything, except for obese people. The bodies I hated working on most were obese people, specifically if they'd been autopsied. Their guts would slide on the floor and shit and all this melty fat. Ugh.
Thank you for that, Karen.
Mm.
You said something previously about the vampire killer, Richard Trenton Chase. He was from Sacramento, wasn't he?
Yeah. The second funeral home I worked for, I wasn't working there at the time, got the bodies of Chase's victims, a man and a woman and their child. So I hear the gory details of what the bodies look like. They were really butchered. They were disemboweled with shit stuffed in their mouths. Chase started by killing animals and drinking their blood, and when he wasn't satisfied with that, he graduated to people. He killed this couple, then kidnapped their child, killed it, and later threw it in a trash can. The mortician who embalmed the bodies said he hardly ever got queasy about anything, but he got sick when he saw those bodies.
I'm going to just say I have to agree with Captain. Karen, have you thought about a bob?
It is the early 80s.
Stick it in the freezer. It's cold when it comes out. Just going to give you my suggestion, Karen, if you're listening to this. Yeah. Now, what's the weirdest case you've ever encountered?
There was one kid who fell out of a car while his mom was making a turn, and she managed to run over his head. Another kid choked to death on a cigarette wrapper. One guy committed suicide by shooting himself in the head with a pellet rifle. He had to shoot himself several times, and it took him a while to die, but he finally succeeded. There was another guy I worked on. He was a transvestite who somehow strangled himself with his nylons. I don't think it was intentional. I think he was trying to achieve a heightened orgasm through strangulation, and he ended up hanging himself. He wouldn't be the first to make that mistake.
Now, how about the most unusual funeral?
One time, this bunch of religious fanatics held a funeral for one of their members. They didn't want her embalmed. They just wanted her dressed and in the casket. We usually didn't do that, but we decided to be nice and put her up in the stateroom. We were standing outside of that stateroom, and we heard someone saying, "Rise in the name of Jesus." They were praying and slapping the body. They were talking in tongues. That was weird.
Wow. Now, there seems to be a strong camaraderie between morticians, almost like it's a secret society.
Very much so. Morticians are very tight with each other because most people won't have anything to do with them. I used to find if I went to a party, I'd always be introduced like, "This is Karen, and she's a mortician." But they don't say, "Here's Karen, she's a secretary," or "she's a veterinary assistant." A lot of people are under the misconception that morticians are very straight, very somber people. If they ever went back into the prep room and heard all the jokes that are cracked, it would blow that theory right out the window.
Now, did any of those morticians ever testify for or against you at the trial?
One funeral director testified on behalf of funeral practices. He was asked how often necrophilia occurs, and he said, "It's almost unheard of in this profession."
Yeah, I think that's a major lie. Yes?
Yes, definitely. Necrophilia is more prevalent than most people imagine. Funeral homes just don't report it. There was one place that I broke into, and I know that they knew something was wrong. They actually caught me in the act and let me get away. At another place I was working, this guy came up to me and said, "Someone's been messing around with the body. It looks like they were trying to fuck the body." I said, "Oh my goodness, really?" I think they figured it out later. I know they know now. One mortician I worked with used to like to use a trocar, which is a large hollow needle used to suction fluids from corpses, and push it up inside any male cadaver's dick. He'd say, "Oh, look, the corpse has got a boner." This guy was really weird. What's this? Okay.
I mean,
He
she
looked like
thinks that's weird.
too far. Everybody has a line, Teri. Everybody has a line. Anyway, and see, he looked like Larry of the Three Stooges. I think he had some necrophilic tendencies. He'd get real upset if there weren't any female bodies to work on. He'd start pacing. I caught him one time in the prep room. He said he was just taking a pee in the hopper at the end of the table. He was just pulling up his pants when I walked in. I said, "I won't tell if you don't."
Uh, okay. Um, now, you say you were once caught in the act of necrophilia once?
Hmm. Yeah, I tried to kill myself and was living in a halfway house a couple of blocks up from the funeral home. I decided to go to the mausoleum and try to kill myself again. The mausoleum had a door connecting it to the mortuary. So I was sitting in there, real depressed, when just for the hell of it, I decided to try running my driver's license along the edge of the door, and click, the door popped open. I couldn't believe it. So I tried it again, and the door popped open again. I went into the prep room, and there happened to be a body in there. I had me some fun, did my thing, and forgot all about killing myself. I told the folks at the halfway house that I stayed the night with friends. I went in there several times. Sometimes there was absolutely no bodies, so I turned around and snuck back out. I usually went in the back door. About a week later, I snuck back into the funeral home. I was on the perp table having a good old time when all of a sudden I felt like there was somebody nearby. Next thing, I heard people walking down the hallway. I quietly jumped off the table and threw the sheet back over the body. My clothes were in quite a state of disarray, and I had blood on me and everything else. It had been an autopsy case.
Oh my God.
There was a casket with the lid open in the side casket room, so I ran and hid behind it. The casket was on a church truck, so they couldn't see me, but they could see my legs. It was a man and a woman there, and they were standing there saying, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" One of them said to the other, "You go get a gun and call the cops, and I'll stay down here." I knew I only had one chance then, so I busted out and ran. I knew the layout of the place, so I just ran down the hall and out of the place and out of the cemetery. At the time, I still had a friend who worked at the funeral home. He said, "Somebody broke into the funeral home. They know it was you." They put in an alarm after that. I think they called the police, but there was never any charges. I'm sure they didn't want the publicity. That was the last time I got very close, except for I've broken into a few tombs. As
Another
one
reason
does.
to be cremated. But have you seen any changes in people's attitudes towards necrophilia?
Yeah, when I came out here, I noticed it. It's almost a fad. They're not really necrophiles, but pseudo necrophiles, like a death cult. But there are probably a lot of people who would do it if they had the opportunity. Perhaps there is this vast network of necrophiles who, for lack of a better forum, will never know of each other's existence. Well, there's Leela Wendell's group, American Association of Necrophiliac Research and Enlightenment. They try and get some information out about it.
Okay, that is just scary as shit to me. But it must be frustrating when people say, "We have to cure you. You've got to be more like us." And
It
Teri adds,
is.
because you're weird. Sorry.
It is. For a while, I found myself thinking, yeah, this isn't normal. Why can't I be like other people? Why doesn't the same pair of shoes fit me just right? I went through all that personal hell. And finally, I accepted myself and realized that's just me. That's my nature. And I might as well enjoy it. I'm miserable when I try to be something I'm not. And two, a lot of these people who are putting me down have hangups worse than I have, or they do things that might be considered questionable by their peers. I had a gay friend who, when he found out I was a necrophile, said, "You can go to hell for that." After 1979, when I was put out on probation, part of the probation requirement was that I seek therapy. I had a really nice social worker. She was cool, very non judgmental. The more I talked to these people, the more I realized necrophilia makes sense to me. The reason I was having a problem with it was because I couldn't accept myself. I was still trying to live my life by other people's standards. To accept it was peace. These people who are always trying to change me only helped me get myself more in touch with my feelings. I used to go from the therapist's office to the funeral home. It didn't work, folks. It didn't work. So that is the conclusion of our role play.
Thank
I have a
freaking God.
quick question for the live viewers and for the replay crew. Do you think Karen continued on with her necrophilia ways? Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Personally, the vibe I get from this interview is she has had zero intentions of stopping.
I am just going to say she hasn't stopped. She hasn't stopped.
No.
I mean, I have to say one thing about her before I get into the next part. I do get that it must have been hard to feel not in touch with yourself and to feel like you didn't belong.
Yeah.
And now she's more with herself. But girl, you do not want to be okay with yourself. And I think the reason people knew is because I can tell you that when you get dead body smell on you, it's kind of like firemen. They can't get that smell off of them.
Yeah, they do
That's
say
how they
that.
meet her. You smell like decomp. That is
That's
how they
true.
know you've been doing the hokey pokey with the dead.
Yeah, people that like do crime scene cleanup and things like that, they've said those exact things that like you can't get that smell off you. Oh gosh, that was rough.
I mean,
Anyway,
anyway. So I want to talk a little bit about necrophilia because when Llama decided we should do this so fascinating, bright, and sunshiny case that I needed to go down some rabbit holes, I found out way more than I ever needed to know. Okay. Now,
you're welcome.
necrophilia has been around almost forever. There is Egyptian artifacts that shows necrophilia happen. Okay. Now,
I believe it.
psychologists introduced a 10-tier classification of necrophiliacs based on the increasing severity of the disorder.
Is this like a Cosmo quiz?
No,
They should do
this
online
is
to
from
determine which a
the
BuzzFeed quiz.
mental health book.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So here we go. There's necrophiliac fantasizers, people who fantasize about necrophilia but do not physically interact with corpses.
Okay, that's cool.
6-8.
I'm
I
cool
can
with
live with
that.
that one.
That's fine. Everybody has their
Now,
fantasies. Okay.
fetishistic necrophiliacs, people who remove objects or body parts from a corpse for sexual fetishes without engaging in intercourse. So that 14 hands wine you got tonight, That is 14 hands that you can.
It's hot. Hot to trot.
I
So
know.
weird.
Okay. So it looks like Cheryl and Jen have popped up and they're going,
Oh.
what in the hell is Teri doing? Yeah. I hope y'all missed the part about some of them stuff bubbles up out of their mouths. I mean, yeah. So multilomaniacs, it's too long. People who derive pleasure from mutilating a corpse while masturbating without engaging in intercourse.
Okay, that's bad. That's bad.
That
That's
bad.
bad.
That's
Don't
bad.
like that.
Now,
No.
opportunistic necrophiliacs, people who normally have no interest in necrophilia, but hey, they take the opportunity when it arises. I mean, why not? I
Well,
mean,
YOLO. YOLO, I guess. Oh, God. Okay.
I mean, no. I mean, there's a lot of things that I say, hey, if the opportunity arises, try it.
Mm.
This is not one of them. Okay.
Okay,
This is
good.
not one of them.
I'm glad that's not on your bucket list, Teri. Good.
Now, there
Good.
is regular necrophiliacs. Okay. This is the regular ones.
Okay.
People who preferentially have intercourse with the dead. That's the regular ones.
Hmm. I don't know if I
So,
have a problem more with them or the ones who like mutilate the body and then do something. I think that one might be worse in my book.
uh, I mean,
I don't know.
depends on how dead the person is. I mean, if it's like freshly,
Teri's getting lines right now.
now,
Where's
now
Teri's
then
line?
there's homicidal necrophiliacs. They are called necrostatists. So those are people who murder someone so they can have sex with them when they're dead.
No,
So they don't
I
kill
don't like
them
that.
for the pleasure of killing them. They kill them because they need a dead body. Yeah.
Gross.
Now,
That's bad.
this next one, and this is the last one, exclusive necrophiliacs. They're exclusive, okay?
What's that mean?
People who have an exclusive interest in sex with the dead, and they cannot perform at all for a living partner.
Oh,
So they exclusively can only have sex with the dead. So I have to
yeah.
tell y'all, when I was reading down this rabbit hole, my first thought, and this tells you how, I don't know if I'm a horrible person or if I've just been doing true crime too long. What happens if she's having sex with that dead guy and his member breaks off?
Why is it going to break off?
Because they're dead, the body starts decomposing,
Oh, yeah, that's
and
true.
she's
Well, it's
got it
probably
inside her.
cold.
It's gonna break off if
Yeah,
she's
but I
getting it
don't.
out of the cemetery, out of a tomb.
Okay, but if it's already in a tomb, it's not. The flag isn't raising up at that point. The blood is out of the body. If it's in a
Have you
tomb, there's
not?
no. It's
Have
other
you not
things.
seen Tyler Perry's, the one about the funeral where the guy
No.
had taken Viagra and he had a heart attack, and in the middle of the funeral he got a boner and it popped the top of the casket up, and they kept
Oh my
trying to push it
goodness.
down. I mean,
That's. I don't think
and
that's how that works, but
my next question is, when do they stop gurgling stuff?
I really wish I was
How
not taking a drink when you said that, but sure.
how long
Yep.
do they do that? Anybody?
I imagine until
Anybody
they
know?
drain the body of the fluids would be my guess.
Now, only 11% of necrophiliacs that have been studied are psychotic. I don't know if that makes me happy or disturbed, because that's only of the people they studied. and they said they
Okay.
studied 100.
Oh, it's interesting
I
they
think
found 100.
I know. Now, we talked earlier about California not outlawing and making it illegal for necrophilia. So
Mhm.
I decided to go check and do some things. There are
Mm,
several states that do not explicitly prohibit the act of necrophilia.
mm.
Guys,
Who we throwing shade
Michigan
at?
and New Mexico just did this last year. New Mexico, it just went through 2025.
Wow.
Now, currently, Arizona, Georgia, Hawaii, and Rhode Island do not explicitly prohibit the act of necrophilia.
Interesting.
And guys, I find that crazy.
That's wild.
Now, they do have that you can be charged with messing with a dead body, like grave
Mm.
robbery. But guys, okay, go with me for a
It's not
minute.
the same thing.
Exactly. And this is still, so I think it's New Mexico. The reason they did it is because they wanted to charge a guy for raping a dead body, but it wasn't
Mhm.
against the law. Therefore, they could not charge him with rape.
Mhm.
It is still not consensual to have sex with a dead person.
Well, I mean, they can't get consent, so.
Therefore, you shouldn't do it. It should be illegal. Okay. I'm a little concerned that Captain, is it bad that I'm citing Tyler Perry now? I love Medea. Okay.
I do have Ask a Mortician. I have this weird thing where I do follow like morticians, there's Carrie the mortician that I follow. It's very interesting
No
stuff that they
wonder
talk about.
you picked this case.
Well,
I do not follow any morticians. I do
I
not
do.
watch. Nope. 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 Nope.
I'm morbidly
Now,
curious.
okay. Oh my God. Okay. Now, when I decided to look into this, I found a list of 163 documented necrophiles. And
Mm.
I wanted to tell you some of the most famous ones. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Jeffrey Dahmer, who
Yeah.
performed oral sex and or masturbated upon the corpses of his victims before he dismembered them.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I did not know this one. Ted Bundy raped and killed at least 30 women. He admitted to having post-mortem sexual intercourse with his victims. I did
Mm.
not know that about Bundy.
Didn't he ask his girlfriend to play dead?
He did, but
I,
I didn't know that he actually admitted that he had sex with some of them.
mm. He's like what,
Okay.
tier 1 and 7, I guess.
I mean,
I don't know.
yeah.
9. Oh
So
boy.
then there's Henry Lee Lucas. He had sexual intercourse with the dead bodies of several of his victims. And when he was asked why, he said he killed
Mm.
them before having sex with them because he liked peace and quiet.
Jeez.
I mean, sir, just tell her to not talk a ball gag, maybe, if she's consenting.
Oh boy.
Now,
Oh
then we have
boy.
Gary Ridgway, who
Oh.
killed at least 49 women and he dumped their bodies. Guys, he would return days and days later and would perform sexual acts on the victims. He preferred it. The more decomp, the better.
That's so gross. Oh my
He
god.
liked that smell.
What is he? The happy face killer, right?
I
I think so.
I found one
Oh,
article
gross.
that I guess he did some interviews and stuff. He liked to rub their body parts on him so he could keep the decomp smell on him. Okay,
Ew.
I could go on, but let's not. Okay,
We
I
like
can't.
our
That's enough for
viewers.
me. Yeah. Now, let me just say there are a lot of them, and that necrophilia is a formal diagnosis, and it falls under the other specified paraphilic orders in the
Mm,
Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So it is a mental disorder.
I would think so.
So, all Are you ready for this? Okay.
Oh boy.
95% of necrophiles are men.
That's not shocking.
95%.
That's
Now,
not shocking. Men are weird.
100% of necrophilic homicides were perpetrated by men.
Mm.
Could not find a documented case of a woman who killed the man just to have sex with him.
Right? Wasn't that level 10? Was that tier 10? Oh no,
I'm
wait.
sweating. It's so
that's
horrible.
level
I'm
tier 9.
literally like,
Tier 9.
oh my God. Now,
Oof. Oof.
this is even more, not more disturbing, but equally as disturbing. Here are some animals that partake in necrophilia. Animals,
Oh, no.
crows,
Interesting.
kangaroos,
Okay.
ducks,
Ducks are assholes.
frogs,
Okay.
penguins. But penguins, theirs is the romantic
Don't they mate for
necrophilia.
life?
They do. And so they will
Okay.
try to still mate and have a baby with
No.
their dead partner. So that one,
That's sad.
I know. And then sea lions,
Mm.
dolphins, and my cute little sea otters. And guys, there are a
Oh.
lot more.
Well,
There's a lot
I'm really glad you didn't say llamas because I'd have to think about rebranding right now.
Yeah, you would definitely have to think about it. Now,
Oh,
I'll say, I found it interesting that so many animals do it too,
Mhm.
but I'm going to say I find it less creepy than I do humans doing it. And I don't know what that says about me, but I would rather animals do it than humans.
That's fair.
I have a question for the audience or our
Okay.
listeners, viewers.
Okay.
Have you ever known anyone that had necrophiliac tendencies or
Interesting.
thoughts?
Or you yourself. You can be anonymous. You can email one of us. Somebody drop our email from the chat. We'll keep you anonymous. That's interesting.
So reading it falls under the same area as alcoholism in the mental health thing. And that really made me stop and think, it's probably more common than we know.
Mm-hmm.
But they just can't do anything about it. I don't know. I mean,
I think that
I'm that
too.
strange person that has said, I want to be like hiking and find a dead body.
Oh, what? Why?
But I don't want to have sex with it.
That's why I don't
just
go
think
hiking.
it would be, well, like hiking in a park. I don't want it to be somebody I know. I want to find like skeletal remains.
Okay.
So that then you can be part of the investigation. You can maybe find out it was somebody whose family had been looking for them for years. You could help solve a case. But I don't want to have sex with them.
No.
And another tidbit I found, if any of you do like the smell of decomp or death, you can go on Amazon and buy a fly trap bag. And it has you add the water to it, and that's how it attracts the flies to it. It smells like decomp. It will make your we've bought them before, and we had to get rid of them because we just couldn't do it. It's death in a bag, and it attracts all the flies to it. But you can go on Amazon. They're like $16. So
wait, does it come in like a bottle jar?
It does.
Because Holly Prissy Pants' boyfriend got something that attracted all the flies, and she was like, it's so good and wonderful. Now, I don't think she knows that. I bet she's not watching right now, but I am going to tell her. We're all going to tell her right after this. We're all going to message her and be like, yo.
It has amazing reviews, so I got it because right behind us and down a little bit, there's horses and stuff. Needed to get rid of the flies. If Jen is still on, she could tell you, you could smell death. I mean, Double H came out and he's like, that has got to go.
Unfortunately,
it never
smelled that smell, and I am very thankful for that.
Once you smell it, you will never forget it.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. So I'm pretty sure I haven't smelled it before. So I'm
I do
good.
not
No,
know
thank you.
what the word is.
Diptych. If you earnin. What does that mean,
Captain,
Kevin?
did you mean to put that in this? Was you chatting with somebody on the side?
Oh boy. Okay. Well,
So,
I guess there's that.
yeah. So I'm gonna just say, yeah. Here on out, producer Tara,
Yes.
can I review some cases before I just say yes?
Are you sure? Because it was so much fun.
It was, and you decided to be Karen, and
It
so
was fun.
I could not have read.
I didn't want to
I
tarnish your
could,
reputation.
I could not have read because I love to read and I visualize things.
See, I
When
can't
I
do
read
that.
through it, I was visualizing it.
Mm.
And that's why when you put up the picture of her in the casket, I just
Oh, I bet it
and
hits differently right now. What do you guys think?
oh yeah, let's see it.
Does it hit differently?
Yeah. Are those little
Ooh,
hands there?
I don't know. I did
Okay, but
not get the context of this photo when I
did
found
you
it.
notice that she said she also liked holding hands with them in 69 with them?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Um,
Yes. Yes, I do remember. Before all of our viewers leave us.
okay. So I'm gonna just tell you, I'm not even sure how I can express my closing thoughts. Because guys, I find this very uncomfortable.
You
I
didn't
mean,
drink enough.
it's disturbing, okay? And I need to know what studies are being done. Like we know that killers, I forget what it's called, they wet the bed, they set fires,
Mhm.
they do. Do we have anything like that for necrophilia? Are
I
there
don't know.
any
That'd be
early warning
interesting.
signs that parents and teachers should look for? Because I think we need to get them into therapy very soon if
Mm.
there's tendencies. Okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And the other thing that I find disturbing is that Karen justifies her actions. And it bothers me that she was allowed to change her name. She could be working as a mortician somewhere under her new
Mhm.
name. Because if you change your name, your background doesn't go with you. For
Oh,
all we
really?
know, she's working in a cemetery, in a mortician
Who wants to put
lab.
money on that's what she's been doing? I will.
And
Mm.
I'm also going to say it freaks me out that she did this in a profession that these people are supposed to help families in their most difficult times. You
Mhm.
know, they're
Yes.
supposed to be comforting you. You hug them and say thank you, and they've maybe just done grandpa in the back. I
Mm.
I think that I think if you're a mortician, a medical examiner, somebody, and you do that, there should be additional charges
Mm.
for
Yes. For like using your role to do such a thing. I agree. Actually, I had never thought about that, but I agree. Right? Like, don't like police officers get or doctors get, due to their career
Mhm.
and role and prestige, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say, I am not kink shaming. I mean, if you want to sniff people's feet, lick their feet, that's one thing. Having sexual contact, relations, or anything with a dead person is not a kink.
Mm. No, you
It's
can
not.
fantasize about it. You can be tier one. We
You
find
could be a
tier
tier
one
1, you
acceptable.
can fantasize.
Yeah.
Fantasize, just keep it to yourself. Just keep it to yourself. Don't tell your partner. I also think we should give psychological exams. They're supposed to for police officers. I think we should also do medical examiners and morticians and the embalmers to see if they have those tendencies.
Mm. Is anybody going to say yes?
But you would ask them, like, do a lie detector. I don't know. We need to make sure This is another reason I'm very glad I'm being cremated. I just hope they don't do that to me before I get cremated. Because I am going on the record now. I do not give consent for someone to have sex with me when I'm dead, not even my
Okay.
husband.
Oh. Did AJ know?
He can hear me,
boy,
and
yeah.
I'm sure he's in his office going, "What the fuck is wrong with this woman?" So, what are your thoughts today? Okay, Simone, I don't think I could be that desperate either. I also don't want to bash people for having a mental illness, and if it is truly considered a mental illness, you still have the responsibility to do the right thing,
That's true.
to get therapy, get medication.
Right. Like there is like this clear stigma everybody has about the finding this morally irreprehensible, right? But we don't want the stigma to get too bad because then people won't admit to it and get the help they need to behave better. It's a
Right.
very complicated. I mean, there's
It
other sexual things that are also there's it's a whole thing. I'm just saying, is it gross? Yes. Is it irreprehensible? Yes. But we need people to feel comfortable because I remember, if I recall, Jeffrey Dahmer specifically, he was like, he had these tendencies for a very long time. The first guy he killed here in Ohio, it was over his body, like that's what drew him in. And he didn't know how to talk about how would you go to any profession? I mean, you have to think about it, right? Even now, people who are suicidal, who have ideations, are uncomfortable with telling their therapist because of the consequences of them getting, locked up for it, So in some way, we need to create a safe space for people to be able to talk about this and do something about it. But at the same time, this is weird AF. Okay.
It is. It is. I bet because now you can do like therapy online and you can do it on a phone with or without video, so they can't see you. If you have this thoughts, try that way. Try to do therapy. Are we getting notes?
No, I'm getting notes. Thank you, Amy.
Okay, I was like,
Amy's
we're
sending
getting
me
notes.
notes. You're good. You're good.
Okay, I'm like, what are we doing? Is she trying to give us a clue that she has
She's like,
these
wrap it up.
thoughts?
No, she's
Okay,
not saying wrap it up. I'm just
I
kidding.
thought she was telling us she was having these thoughts and she was asking for
No.
help.
Jeffrey Dahmer really did talk about this publicly, like in interviews and stuff like this. Because I do think that if it had been 15, 20 years later, may not have had the same story that he had, to be quite frank. Maybe not. We could be wrong, but he was pretty open about that sort of stuff. But also, like, how do you tell a therapist, like, yeah, the visceral, anyway, so my closing thoughts. Oh boy, do I have a lot of thoughts? Well, questions I have so many questions. So if you are a necrophile, I will anonymously talk with you about it because I have a lot of questions because I am curious.
I am too.
Because she pretty much applied that there was a whole necrophile scene in the 70s and 80s. Okay. We all heard the interview. I said those words and she said it was pretty prominent. And that was before the internet. Like, I can only imagine how that particular community has grown since then. Now that you can communicate with people around the world and you can converse with people who have these urges and tendencies. Do
you think there's an underworld society like there is for like petties and stuff?
I mean, do you think there's like a necrophilia con or something? Maybe. I don't think we should throw, though. I'm going to say, I do not think we should throw necrophiles in with pedos. Those are very
no, but I shouldn't say
different.
But do you think there's that kind of underground because it is so taboo?
Yeah, I think so. with the internet, there's a
I mean, just like
community for everybody
scatting is
now.
very taboo, and I know there's an
Yes.
underground scatting world.
You know, how rampant is necrophilia?
I
I mean, if she's talking in the 70s and 80s so
don't
casually that
know.
she's even had these conversations with boyfriends, co-workers. This was in the 70s and 80s. I
Yeah,
think it's
imagine now.
probably, yes, I agree. I think so. So how rampant is necrophilia? I would like to know. I know there are also legal and moral debates around the subject, which I do find to be very interesting as well. Because when I was researching laws in various states, you know, particularly like, does personhood exist after someone has died? You know,
Oh,
does it? I mean, to
it
some
should.
people, yes. Maybe religious people, yes. Maybe to non-religious people, no. It's a gray area, right? And then the standard criminal sexual conduct laws typically require a live person to be a victim, and a dead body cannot consent or suffer.
But you can't
So,
consent when they give you GHB. It
but
takes away
are
your
they even a
ability to
person?
consent.
They're dead. Do they even qualify as a person in the first place? They're dead.
That's true. They're
You
dead.
know, it's very interesting, the debates I've had. Now,
That's
I find this morally irreprehensible. I do. But I do find um, the debates, the legal debates, the philosophical debates about this very interesting. Brought up a lot of things that, you know, at first are repulsion is, but then when you read, you're like, oh, that is interesting. I'm also a philosophy nerd, so there's that.
now you've
As
got
you,
my brain going because that goes along the same lines as like termination of pregnancies. Are they? Aren't they?
right?
Oh my goodness. Thank
It's
you. I'm going to be
so,
up all freaking night.
I mean, as much as I would like to take all of everything we discussed tonight and throw it in my brain's recycling bin, I know I'm going to be thinking about this for weeks to come. I mean, who am I kidding? It's never going to go away. I think once we've learned this, it's not going out of there. So,
Well, why don't
yeah.
we change course? Okay.
Okay.
Let's just change
Yes.
course and get to something a
Everybody's
little
left
better.
probably.
Why don't you tell everyone where they can watch you every Monday through Friday?
Sure. Where I don't talk about necrophilia. So
Yet.
you can find me right here on our, let me do this real quick. There we go. Right here on our True Crime and Wine Time YouTube channel. You can find me hosting Couch Court with Llama at 8:30 a.m. Eastern most mornings. We are in the middle of covering the Karen Reed trial, take 2, which I have watched a lot of trials and I have never seen these shenanigans before. It is truly one of the most unbelievable trials I have ever witnessed. Like, it's every day I am just sitting there like, why are we even here? This is wild. I also just started Couch Court with Llama After Dark, where I'm
Where's
covering
your
all the
baby oil? For those people that came late?
For who came late, Teri sent me a whole bottle of baby oil. And if you don't know what this joke means, then you have not watched my Diddy update. So,
That's right.
after this, go watch. I heard from Amos that the newest episode just dropped from today's in court. I did an update after our day Couch Court with Llama. It is on our YouTube channel, ready to watch. I'm covering all the updates coming out of the courtroom with Sean Diddy Combs. It is very disturbing, and I hate this guy. But new episodes come out every night that court is in session. We're already on day 4, and if you're not caught up, you can find it on our US versus Diddy playlist right here on our YouTube channel. So, there's that. If you want more effed up, weird sex stuff, go there.
I will kink shame him. I'm going to just be honest. He
that guy.
deserves all of the shame, he just deserves it all.
Yes.
Now, we will be back next Thursday where we will be covering the case of a trusted dentist turned serial killer. Look at that. There's me.
This is why
Glennon
this is why
Engelman.
Buffy wanted our faces tonight.
Yeah. I mean,
It's gonna be a lot of my side eye.
next week is going to be just as crazy. Okay. It's going to be just as crazy. So that's next Thursday, the 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Now, a special announcement. Midday Missing, which normally airs every Monday and Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, will not be airing on Monday, the 19th, because, guys, I have jury duty. And let's hope I get picked. So we will know about Wednesday, depending on if they pick me, how long it is. So right now, for sure, we know we will not have Monday, but we will update you on all the socials. And I'm sure Llama will let you know during Couch Court. Okay.
Yes.
Now, if you have a case that you think we should cover that is not about having sex or doing the hokey pokey with a dead person, please send that to Tara at tcwtmedia.com. If it is about somebody doing the hokey pokey with a dead person, don't send it. Okay? Don't
Also
send it.
to me.
I feel nasty enough right now. And I am going to be going to the dark web to see if I can find if there's any rooms about
Rooms
this
of
and
what?
conversations. They have different.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go out to the Tor network, you can find chat rooms still.
Can you on here? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, real quick, Teri, I didn't even
Yes.
tell you. I knew I was going to be on your show tonight, and guess what I did?
What?
I painted my nails pink with the pink nail polish you sent me last week. I meant to tell you at the beginning, but yes, I did not put the super sparkly one. This was sparkly enough. But yes, I did for your show.
Oh, thank
You're welcome.
you.
Sorry, I just remembered.
And it
forgot.
matches your purple background, which I love.
Thank you. It does. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
Does. I mean, hopefully you're going to be wearing pink in Ohio when I see you.
I feel like I don't have any choice. So
you do have, you always have a choice, always have the right to control.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Now, please remember to like, subscribe, also share these videos. That helps us get found by others because there's some kind of math algorithm thing that goes on that Tara and I do not understand. So we're just told to share it, like it, and stuff will happen. Simone Miller, pink is your favorite color. Girl, we can be friends.
New best
we can
friends.
be friends. Yes. And if you are not a member of the Discord, you definitely want to go over to the Discord for the courtyard. I mean, these people are hilarious. Okay.
Aww.
They are hilarious. Also, follow us on our social media channels. Midday Missing is just to share missing person flyers, but you can find me at Teri True Crime, where I put up all kind of shenanigans. There will be a new Jasper brother or sister who will be making an appearance soon. So if you know, you know. So we're going to have a new baby goat. If it's a girl, I'm going to have to get new pajamas. I don't have any little girl pajamas.
Oh my gosh.
I don't have any little pink
so
bottles either.
Oh no.
So, or you can follow us on True Crime and Wine Time and TCWT Media. TCWT Media is where you find stuff about all of our different shows that are going on. Not just me. You also find out about the lovely Llama. Tara, Llama, thank you so much for being on tonight. Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. It was such a pleasure, even though, you know, what we did tonight. But yeah, I really enjoyed being here tonight with everyone. It was lovely seeing some new faces. I recognize them from Couch Court with Llama, but I'm so glad that I came and watched tonight. They're probably like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to go back and see her in the morning.
I know they're like
top normal at 8:30 in the morning.
Well, and it's different having you on as the co-host and not the producer. And
that's true.
It's kind of fun. And I know we've had a lot of people that say girl power is a good thing.
Girl power is a great thing. It is a great thing, but Thank you again
Is
for having me on, Teri. And until next time, everyone listening, go forth and be amazing. I love you guys
yeah.
so much. Thank you for being here.
And like I said, thank you for joining me and for recommending this very disturbing case and ruining my sleep tonight. I hope everybody, please, guys, stay safe. If you see something, say something. And guys, enjoy your wine time tonight. I'm going to just say, go get a shot. Just go get a shot of something before you go to bed to wash out. Oh, Mr. Lackey, I am so glad you popped in at the end and that you were not here for the whole thing.
And there's a reason why you couldn't get a hold of Teri.
Yeah, you tried to call me when we were.
Girl,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah. So no, but I hope you all have a great evening, and I hope you show up for Couch Court tomorrow with Llama.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Bye.